Hello, and welcome to the Splain. Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, world.
Welcome to the Splain. We're old. Okay, Joe is feeling old. Look
Hear
at this
that?
poor guy. He's feeling old and sick. He's got glasses. It's
What?
all going downhill.
Holy shit, man. It's just,
Look at
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, I got to keep those on.
Those are you were talking about that. Those are the screen glasses.
Yeah, they're not called readers anymore. They're called screen
Screen.
glasses.
Yeah.
Either way, you're old if you're.
Yep. I'm
Um,
gonna have to get myself. I haven't reached that point of admission. I'm sitting there with things reading. I
you
get
know,
out. I
yeah,
get out my phone,
yeah,
take a picture of it. I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
I need glasses. See, now
yeah,
it
yeah.
this is my therapy.
I
Good
got to be honest
therapy
with you.
is when you come up with the solution yourself. I need glass. If I'm sitting there videotape, if I
Yeah, yeah.
videotape.
Taking the pictures and yeah, no, I
Yeah.
look, I
Oh,
did it
okay. I
all.
thought
I
it was
did it
just
all.
me.
And then I
Yeah.
would be in bed on my laptop squinting, like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it hasn't changed that much.
Yeah, I just don't want to do it. Yes.
I
Time for the
finally,
readers.
but I got to tell you, here's the thing that blows me away. The difference between having the glasses on and not having the glasses on is pretty dramatic. Like as soon as I put the glasses on, I'm like, oh my God, have I been missing that much of the
Really.
world? Oh yeah.
They look good on you.
Thank you.
They
Thank you.
balance, they accessorize your face well. Seriously.
I was kind of going for like NASA scientists,
You
maybe.
look smarter, you look more accomplished, you look
That's it. That's all I need to hear, buddy. That's
you
it.
the things I know about you are sort of buried deeper now. It's
Huh.
Does that make
Oh,
sense? It's kind of
yeah, it's disturbing, but yeah, yeah, the
yeah.
things I know about you are buried a little
You
deeper.
look like you can
Like I have my
um
shit together.
you have your shit. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
have
and
your shit
maybe I
together.
could give you an algebraic equation.
Hmm. And
I can't.
we both got our shit together. For all you parents out there that have this tight control on your kids and you're trying to mold them into a career when they're not even in college yet, just let go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let him spend a decade or three
Uh-huh.
pursuing their dreams.
Pursuing their dreams, falling,
Drug addiction.
drug addiction, getting sober, you come back. But look at us.
Look at us.
Screw it. Let's dive in. What are we
Let's
talking
dive
about?
in. All
What are
right,
we talking
buddy.
about? It's Joe's, it's your.
So let me start out. I don't want to tell you the name of this particular subject because it'll give it away right away.
Okay.
I'm going to start out by I'm going to read you a brief story, and it will get to the title of this, and suddenly you'll know. At least I think you will know.
I'm intrigued.
I like it. I like
All
it. All right,
right.
here we go. So
Yeah, I got to listen. Wait,
listen
listen.
closely. In 1995. MacArthur Wheeler and Clinton Earl Johnson walked into two different banks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and robbed them. They didn't wear masks and even smiled directly at the security cameras. Johnson was arrested a few days later. A few months after that, when Wheeler's image was on TV, he was arrested. He was shocked. When he was arrested, he told the detectives, quote, "But I wore the juice," unquote. Both of these men believed that if they smeared their faces with lemon juice, they would not show up on security cameras. They even tested this with a Polaroid camera, and for some reason, the film didn't develop properly. And who knows if that was just bad film or these two were idiots.
Mhm.
But they were like, hey, this works. If we put lemon juice on our faces, we can go rob banks. This
Mhm.
caught the attention of a social psychologist David Dunning, who shared this interesting curiosity with a graduate student of his named Kruger. And this is how we got the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is people who are really, really incompetent vastly overestimate their abilities to do things. It's become known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Basically, you're too stupid to realize how stupid you are, so you're going to do really stupid things. I think,
Successfully, possibly.
well, sometimes successfully, sometimes, you're like, oh, dude, I wore the juice. I would propose, so I would say a couple of interesting ways we could go with this. One, we can all admit some Dunning-Kruger effects in our lives. Two, we can also go, maybe Dunning-Kruger has become a national crisis. And three, how do you talk to people who clearly don't know that they don't know? Another interesting fact that I heard about this, and I looked it up, this apparently is a true fact. 60% of Americans believe they could win a fist fight with a bear.
What was that percentage?
60%.
Believe they could win a fist fight with a bear?
With a bear, with a fully grown bear, which can stand up to 8 feet tall and weigh a ton. For some reason,
Where does data like that come from?
the internet. Most Americans believe that they could land a commercial airplane in an emergency.
I've thought about that before.
It's in movies. We
I've
all
thought
think
about
we
that,
could
but
do
right,
it.
I've thought about that before, and
I've
I've
had
said
that
to myself,
fantasy.
if push came to shove, if you just have to do it for survival, maybe I'd be able to do it. But no, I couldn't.
No,
That shouldn't work out.
no. It statistically it can't. I mean, you've got these highly trained professionals that have been at it for years and years, two people in a cockpit. You're some dummy who just comes to in a crisis, and then you're
Right.
going to put some headphones on and go, okay, tell me what to do.
That's more of like a spiritual belief, like you maybe a miracle. I mean, wouldn't you agree? We all kind of, even us secular people, believe in miracles for
Well,
the.
but you might be actually illustrating the Dunning-Kruger
Okay.
effect right there,
All
right? Like,
right.
but I
I'm
mean,
willing to.
where is magical thinking and not knowing that you don't know enough
Not no.
to.
Okay, you're stuck. Okay, so I kind of see where you're going here. You want to talk about how do you talk to people that don't know
But I
that
will
they
also
don't
say
know?
this. Yeah, they don't know that they don't know. And they're just, all the studies that these guys have done shows over and over and over again that people who are basically incompetent overestimate their abilities to solve a problem.
Yes.
And then they get into a situation
Yes.
where they can't solve it, and then they double down on it, make the situation worse. Also, I would say if it wasn't for Dunning-Kruger effects, most people would never get into stand-up comedy. Like
Right.
I didn't know how hard it was going to be. I didn't know how bad I was the first 5 years. I just kept showing up, kept doing the same thing over and over, which is the definition
Okay.
of an insanity.
Me too. Now, would you call that Dunning-Kruger or just naivete? I mean,
I
we
mean
all got to go
that's
into something naively.
that's an interesting question, right? Like at what point, because I think we've also seen, like, think about back in the day, you would see somebody not get a laugh for 7 minutes on
Yeah.
stage, come off the stage, strut past you and go, yeah, that went pretty good. And you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
There are people, I mean, you and I got laughs. I'm not in the game anymore. We got laughs. We got booked based on those laughs. One thing I never understood, and I don't want to turn into a dick here.
Don't
People
use a name.
that
Just don't use a name and you're not a
yeah,
dick.
people that just persisted with never
Yeah.
killing
Yeah.
ever.
Ever.
How do you persist in stand up without killing every once in a while, without getting confirmation I'm
Yeah.
funny? And that happens. And probably looking back, they persist with it because it's a dream just to be doing it. They're happy just to be doing it.
I will look, I've wondered about that
It's
too.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm at the punchline. I just did 7 minutes at the punchline.
Yeah. Like, come on,
This is
man.
amazing. I mean,
I
I
yeah.
respect that, but what I hear you talking about is a lack of self-awareness.
That's what it comes down to. Yes, that's
Hmm.
what Dunning-Kruger basically arrived at is you just don't understand that you
Hmm.
don't know enough.
Right.
And I think we see that politically. I think we see
Hmm.
that artistically. I think we all struggle with it. My concern is I sometimes wonder, like, okay, well, what is my wishful thinking? What is my
Hmm.
fantasy to achieve? And what is, you know what, Joe? No,
Yeah.
you aren't going to do that because you don't understand that you don't understand.
Right. I'm there too. I'm 52. You and I have both led the lives with ups and downs and changes in career, and it has been very tough at times. I ask myself the same thing. My parents, in my heart, my parents believe I think I have Dunning-Kruger.
Hmm.
I naive. I'm trying for something I'm not going to accomplish, and I'm just not happy within myself.
That's 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 a
And
pretty deep load, man.
I'm starting to ask. I do. I ask myself that. What? Yeah. When is it smart to take a risk?
Yeah.
I used to do things without thinking.
But realizing that maybe you need to think things through,
Hmm.
that is not
Right.
evidence of Dunning-Kruger, right?
Right.
That's
Right. Right. Right.
actual
Right.
evidence of critical thinking
Yeah.
skills. And maybe like, hey, maybe I
Okay.
do like I'll give you an example of Dunning-Kruger for me. Okay, so for years, even before you knew me, I was totally convinced I was an amazing guitar player. I was
Hmm.
convinced I was a brilliant songwriter, right? And
Yeah.
my artistic future was going to be the leader of a band. Now, I couldn't play guitar in front of people,
Hmm.
but still, for years, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be a musician. And people will
Hmm.
go, oh, where can I come check you out? Oh, I'm not playing anywhere. Are you in a band? No,
No.
no, but I'm a brilliant guitar player. I could play by myself.
How old were you?
Oh, I was, 20, 21, 22. I mean, yeah, that's when everyone thinks they're a brilliant guitar player.
Yeah.
But I really thought it. And I was like recording stuff and like, oh my God, this is so good. And then I would play the recording for people and people would be like, the timing's a little off there. What are you talking about? No, that's perfect. And
Okay.
now
And
when
why
I
didn't
look,
you pursue it?
well, I didn't pursue it because eventually the reality caught up to me. And the reality was that I was a competent guitar player, but I was not a brilliant guitar player. I feel
Hmm.
very much like there's this nagging part of me that yeah, I want to be acknowledged, and I think that's ego, but
Hmm.
I also do think, well, wait, I have something to say, but
Hmm.
then I also wonder like, well, why am I not taking advantage of all of the technology that's out there? Like I see the
Hmm.
younger comics putting clips out and
Hmm.
they're mediocre clips. They're
Hmm.
it's not objectively it's not great comedy.
Hmm.
And they're putting it out there and they're getting fans and
Yes.
and I'm just like, and it prevents, and I'm not blaming them. I would be careful about that. It prevents me from
Hmm.
doing the same thing because I'm just like, what's the point? I'm talking myself out of trying
Hmm.
something and I'm wondering, like, okay, is
It's
this
hard to try.
hard to
It's so hard
try?
to try.
Ugh.
I know it's because I think it's very basic fear of failure. If I try and fail, then I'm fucked.
By tr- there's the name of your TED Talk.
Yeah. Thank you.
If
If I,
if I try and fail, I'm fucked.
yeah, if I fail, I'm fucked. It's hard. It's first of all, remember that young people are hungry and
Mm.
they have energy. So
Yeah, yeah.
think about what you and I the equivalent of that when we were younger was going to the punchline every fucking Sunday
Mm,
and not getting on and watching these superstars at the time, Matt Weinhold and
mm.
David Allen Moss and these and Mike Meehan rip up the stage and still be ready to go on. It really
Yeah.
was nerve-wracking and
Oh my
exciting. And we
God.
were there. Like I look
Yeah.
back on that and I go, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not waiting around and I'm not
No, you can't.
that
At a
took
certain age, you can't.
resiliency and these kids have it. And I think I see some of that benefits the younger generation. In other words, not knowing you're mediocre and just blasting your stuff out. And
Yeah, yeah.
to old guys like us, it doesn't seem fair. It's nerve wracking because the bottom line is if you're really technically savvy, you can be effective.
It's amazing to see.
And they keep going and they don't get discouraged.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
fucking kids.
Fu-
It pisses me off. They don't hate themselves.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was okay. I was at an open mic at this point, probably 5 years ago, in a dump. You know, it was an open mic. Two people are there. It was a bad open mic, and open mics are bad. This Gen Zer is up on stage. It was the kind of open mic where two guys are at the bar
yeah,
with no interest in what you're saying. It's uncomfortable.
yeah.
This guy was doing an ass licking bit. And he was talking about ass licking. He was zoned in. It didn't occur to him that how ridiculous it was, how uncomfortable it was. He's
Yeah.
doing his thing and he's practicing. Now, if that was you and me, if that was 10 years ago and it was you and me, we'd have been making fun of the place. Okay, my career's on fire, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, God bless you talking about your ass licking. You're doing your thing because you're too stupid. You're too stupid to know
I
how
think
pathetic it is. Good for you.
in some ways
It's a different generation.
it protects you. In some
Yeah,
ways, not knowing that it is so bad, not understanding how absurd it is, not having that self-awareness that
right.
this is preposterous, it does protect you. And I do remember going into open mics, and I can remember, I can admit this now, like most open mics are shitty.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you're going to these open mics where you're right, no one's paying attention. Anybody paying attention is other comics, and they're not going to laugh at another comic because, God forbid, I should
Hmm.
admit someone's funny.
Hmm.
And I can remember being at these shitty open mics, everyone is bombing, and sitting there thinking, oh, wait till they get a load of me,
Yeah.
and then going up and thinking like I was killing, and I can remember a couple times
Hmm.
recording it on a handheld recorder, and then I would listen to it back by myself, and then I would realize, oh, I didn't do any better than anybody else. I didn't get any laughs. I can hear myself talking. I can hear myself like pausing for laughs. I can hear myself, making all of the intonations as if I was doing well, but then realizing, listening to it back, like, oh no, I'm as shitty as everyone else. And I think when you're
Hmm.
young, it's not really Dunning-Kruger. It's just
Yeah. Well, it's like
you have to take
anything.
that chance.
It's like anything. Um, Certain behaviors coincide with a certain developmental level and age, and some people don't grow up, or some people
Mm.
have I mean some people kind of have mental health issues. They're externalized and they blame everything for everything, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
their mom told them you're different because everybody's jealous of you, and you go into a mode where you have to be right. It's a certain kind of narcissism where
Mm.
you need to define yourself. Let me change it to politics for a second because you're
Yeah, yeah.
asking. Here's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you talk to people that don't know that they don't know? And that's a tough one because there's a lot of not knowing going on today. I think with all of us.
But it's also it's being magnified and broadcast. It's
Right.
not it's to me it's less about not knowing and it's about, hey, your opinion on things, we're going to magnify that and tell you you're right. Even though it's wrong. It's
Yeah.
like
But
this,
what is wrong? So how do you define right and wrong?
well, I think facts, right? Like
Facts.
facts that everyone can agree on. Everyone knows one and one is two. That's a
Right.
baseline, right?
Okay.
Um, you start to move that up, and I don't think people even have basic scientific literacy. They don't understand what science is,
Right.
how we arrive at conclusions that we then
Right.
stamp as facts, right? And then that moves up to like, well, look at where we are in this present situation. I don't,
Mhm.
want to drag Trump into it,
Numbers,
but
numbers and facts.
we're talking about trade deficits and
Right.
tariffs, and there are concrete numbers and statistics that anybody can look at and research where
Yeah.
you could use to make valid conclusions. And
Hmm.
instead of that,
Where do you research?
well, you can, I mean, look, not to sound like the crazy guy at home, but you can start on Google. Google is a very powerful tool,
Crazy
okay?
guy at home. I
Well,
like that.
because everybody,
I get it.
like you'll get
The
into
reason
these
I'm asking
arguments.
is everybody's talking about research.
Right. So here's this is where critical thinking is so
Yeah.
important, right? Because you could type in like what are tariffs? Okay, that's a good start. But you could also go into the Department of Treasury.
Hmm.
You could go onto the Commerce website. More importantly, you could Google historical things like Smoot-Hawley,
Hmm.
which were the tariffs in the 30s that brought about the Great Depression. You could go into the Commerce Department
Okay. I'm digging
and,
this Klosik research. I seriously.
but you know what I mean? It's like, I think people have lost the ability to ask, what is the question that's going to get me closer to the answer? And as good as a tool as the internet is, most of the time it's being misused. And we also know if you're sitting at home and you've been watching nothing but Fox and you've been
Hmm.
Googling nothing but conservative websites, guess what? The algorithm is going to spit out conservative places for you to
Right.
look
So,
at.
in other words, go to boring
You got to go to the boring,
websites,
objective websites
objective
and get the
websites that
actual information.
count that
Yeah.
we can reasonably assume have public numbers.
I'll give you a great example. Okay. So just today, the
Hmm.
agricultural, the Department of Agricultural, I'm blanking on her name now. I'm not coming off great, but she
Okay.
was on CNN, right?
Hmm.
And she was justifying
Hmm.
some of these tariffs, and she went off saying that, Japan wants to charge us a 700% tariff on American rice. One, that statistic is wildly inaccurate.
Hmm.
And two, you crash the market because we can't sell rice to Japan?
Right.
Like,
We're sticking it. We're sticking it to these guys. To what end?
I mean, none of what she was saying was objectively logical.
Hmm.
Like Japan's been growing their own rice for 5,000 years, right? We
Hmm.
don't need to get American rice into Japan.
Yeah. So, in other words, Japan needs our rice.
Exactly,
Is
exactly.
that possible?
That's
Yeah.
why we're crashing the market because Japan's being unfair. They're not buying
Yeah.
our rice.
Japan needs our rice. Right.
Also, her statistic, 700% tariff, it's wildly
Right. It's just
inaccurate.
it. Never has there been a time where everybody's debating something they don't know.
Well, not only do they not know, but then there's this gaslighting, right, that
Yeah.
comes in, and a bunch of people, I bet you half of the people watching that were going like 700%, that's outrageous. Now that's a fact that's in
Hmm.
their head that they're not going to ever be
Someone's
able to
really going to give a shit
dislodge.
about that. Someone is really going to go, yeah, all right, seven.
Yeah, because you'll
Who
get into a
gives
debate,
a shit?
but
Who
who
really
gives a
it's going to
shit?
make
But
you see beyond your own 401k and your own pocketbook.
But that's what they're doing right now. Again, I think we're in the shape with the market crash. Let's just call it what it is because of Dunning-Kruger. I mean, everything that Trump and his guys have done, they've done because they don't know that they don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
The formula that
they
they
don't know
came
that
up
they don't
with,
know, or do they know and not care? They're after their
I
own
think it's both. I think it's both.
consolidated power.
I mean, they're definitely after consolidated power, but they
I mean,
made, I don't know if you saw it, but they made a big deal of like they showed the formula that they came up with to compute these new tariffs, and they put like the Greek letters in it. They tried to make it look very smart, but
mhm,
when everyone back engineered it and broke it down, they're like, oh my God, this is the most stupid formula they've ever devised. It cancels out what it's saying, and the way that they computed it makes no sense at all. It's not, long story short, it's not a
mhm,
formula that anybody has ever used before. Nobody looks at this and go, oh, this is what we should be doing.
mhm.
And the end result
Yes,
is he crashed the market because a
right.
bunch of people standing around him are like, this is the right thing to do. This is the bold thing to do. This makes sense.
The scientific method is important.
It's
And
huge.
I know
It's boring, but
I
it's
know it's
huge.
boring, and I know government is boring, and I understand that there's a lot of government I don't trust, and the bureaucracy has been is I'm sure kind of fixed and rigged in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of important science involved that if we let we're just going on instinct.
I think we're going on worse than instinct. I think
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going on bad ideas. I
Bad,
mean,
yes,
like
yes,
like
bad
uh,
ideas.
RFK Jr., right, in charge of the Health and Human Services Department, basically has told all these families in Texas where there's this huge measles outbreak that what will cure their kids is vitamin A, massive doses of vitamin A. Now, what's happening? Our kids are showing up in emergency rooms poisoned by too much vitamin A. They're damaging their livers, right? So,
Really?
yeah. So you've got the biggest outbreak of measles that we've seen in a generation. You've got kids literally dying of measles, and now you have kids showing up in emergency rooms whose livers are damaged because you can have too much
I know.
vitamin A in your system.
And there's just no accountability.
There's zero
There's
accountability.
zero
Zero. And
accountability.
is that a result of, oh, well, I know better than scientists? Is that Dunning-Kruger? Is that delusional? Is that, hey, fuck you, I have power, I'm going to say this? I mean, I think
I think it's a
it's a
little
little bit
bit
of everything, right?
of everything. The point is, Cheryl Hines, come on,
What
man.
the fuck,
You're one
man?
of us, and I
Come
know it. And
on.
I know it.
Like, wait,
You went to the groundlings, you were on Curb, you are a Hollywood funny,
if you were
talented
smart enough to
person.
divorce Larry
What the
David,
fuck?
yeah, it is
I
that's
Give me a
mind-blowing.
break.
That is mind-blowing that Cheryl Hines is married to him
Come
and is
on.
deadly quiet.
Yeah. And my wife went to the groundlings with you and loves you. We're all worried about you. We love you.
Wow.
We
She's got to be in a closet somewhere chained up,
oh
right?
yeah, we were hey, we're worried about you,
Cheryl, if
Daryl.
you see this,
Go come on.
call
Come
Dr.
on.
Dan. We'll get you
Call
out of
me.
this.
I'm a
We'll get you out
therapist.
of this.
Come on. You know, you know.
We'll get you into an electric car. We'll drive you up here, get you a latte.
Hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
We'll go to a
You need to
trans
go to the
storybook
Earth
reading.
Cafe on Melrose, whatever. Get back with your people.
Get
Get
back with
out
your
of this
people. Get out of
situation.
this
Get out of
toxic
that situation
bullshit.
because you're all we've got. I don't even know what that means. Speaking of women in shows I love.
Oh,
Um so on this note of sort of doing I like that you gave good examples of research, right? Because everybody's talking about you got to do your research. What does that mean? Does that mean just finding the information that makes you feel good?
well, that's not research.
Yes, that's not. So I was watching this thing. I no longer Michael Franchise, who I no longer watch. He's turned into a just a complete Christian right wing guy. He used to be, and Michael, you too.
I don't know who that is. Who is he?
He's a guy who used to be a captain for the Colombo family mafia,
Whoa.
who he used to do these movie reviews that I enjoyed. Now he's just a right wing pundit
Oh, wow.
and a Trump supporter. So you've disappointed me too.
Come on, Michael.
Okay. I liked your content. And now I can't stomach it anymore. Anyway, um he was interviewing Drea De Matteo. Do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. She is Adriana from The Sopranos.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm a Sopranos nerd. Drea De Matteo is like Carrie Fisher in 1979. Just the queen. You have to have a crush on her.
Christopher.
Oh,
Christopher.
ew. Love her.
Anyway,
She is, I don't know what you'd call her, right wing. What she's on this,
OnlyFans.
she's on this podcast. She's like-minded with the guy I was talking about. So she's constantly going on about you got to do your research. The deep state is behind everything. This is
Yeah.
when it goes off the rails for me.
Yeah.
She goes, when I hear Robert De Niro talking about Trump, I'm like, someone's controlling him. Oh, huh?
Yeah.
And she's like, you can tell that's not good acting. You can tell that's not really him. Why? Because he's not like, you talking to me? Trump? He looks very genuine to me. That's where
Yeah.
it's like, what are you talking about? There's no evidence of that.
Well,
You know what I mean?
but that's the thing. This is where you can't argue with people because they're not arguing evidence. They're arguing feelings. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
irony. They like make fun of liberals for being snowflakes, but everything they're arguing is from their feelings. There's no actual evidence. They're gaslighting themselves most of the time.
I know this is a cliche. We all have so much more in common. We really do. Uh-huh. It's the truth. We all have so much more in common than we have, and politics divides us. It really works. It gets votes.
It does. It
I live
does.
in a very liberal Portland city. Um, plenty of I have plenty of parents concerned about their snowflaking kids, and these are liberal Democrat parents.
Yeah.
There's so much lies in the gray area. There's so much muck. There's so many challenges. I sound like a cliche. There's so many challenges we could accomplish if we work together. It's really true.
So we just recently had the anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination
Mm-hmm.
in Memphis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, like if you go back and you read the articles of the time and you look at what historians have rightfully put in its proper perspective, a lot of what they now seem to think got Martin Luther King killed was he started to appeal across race lines along class lines. And what he was saying was,
Mm-hmm.
the poor, underpaid white garbage truck worker
Mm-hmm.
suffers in the same system as the poor black man.
Mm-hmm.
And until we really root out the issues of class,
Mm-hmm.
race is just going to divide us.
And that got him killed,
And
right?
that got him killed
Yeah, because we cannot unite.
can't
If we
unite.
truly unite based on class, the ruling class.
But what keeps, I think, a lot of people are stuck with a mindset because they don't have the ability to recognize it, explore it, and get honest about it. And I wonder, that's some offshoot of Dunning-Kruger. That is some lack of self-awareness.
I talk about my father-in-law, who is a disappointment to me. He was my faith in Christianity. He's an evangelical Christian who I always believed. See, he has a heart, and he doesn't mean anyone any harm. And maybe he doesn't know how to be pro LGBTQ, but he'll if if someone he loves is LGBTQ, he would genuinely worry about them because worry about their soul. I'm okay with that. You're not being hateful.
Yeah.
And he has been Trumpified. He's gotten the sort of that Trumpy swagger
Yeah.
of now we're finally kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
doubling down on nonsense.
Well, so to bring it all home, right?
Oh,
You're
what I was gonna to bring it all home. So what I was gonna say is, in order for that to happen, the values have changed, and he is now supporting people that used to be against his values, like Trump. Trump.
right.
I mean, I know we've been desensitized. Trump is not a Christian guy.
No. No,
Trump is
not at
a.
all.
I mean, fun. He wouldn't have claimed to be. He's a. Look at back in the '80s. He's a playboy, greedy real estate guy.
Yeah, he cheated on his third wife with a porn star.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all you got to say.
And so it's that same pattern. Suddenly, a guy like my father-in-law is talking about Elon Musk is a smart guy. No, no, you don't get to support the Tesla guy.
I mean,
Something's wrong.
that's the interesting thing though. Like, when did this switch happen? You know what I mean? Like, when did this, you know,
Cult. It's
it's very
cultiness.
cult-like,
It's a
and
cultiness.
this is, and I think this is the progression. Like, you know, it starts out with Dunning-Kruger, like, hey, you know what? I know how to fix America. I
Right.
alone can fix America. I
Right.
have the plan. Day one, I will fix it. And then a lot of people who have felt like they've missed out on prosperity, who feel like, hey, I'm not being represented. They're like, yeah, this guy is angry like I am, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna make the libs hurt. I like that. And
Yeah.
then it transforms into, you know what? Hatred is a virtue. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you who to hate. I'm going to help tell you why to hate these people. And you know what? The problem has always been government. We're going to take it all apart.
And
But
eventually, you're just in too deep.
you're in too
You got to
deep,
keep going.
and now here we are.
Yeah.
He's
And
decimated.
believe me, um, what we're going to hear as the midterms approach and as elections approach is basically I've uh, I've ruined it and only I can fix it. Let's not let up now. We're
Well,
almost to
I
we're
agree.
seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We've sacrificed all of our economy for this bright future. Don't Let's not move backwards now.
None of it makes sense though. None of it
I
makes
know.
sense. Like, it is stunning. Like, none of it makes sense. And you really have to be able to put the lemon juice on your critical thinking skills to
Hmm.
not see that this is stunningly bad.
I think you nailed it, buddy. Smash that like button.
Please.
We're going to wrap up. Joe needs to rest.
I need to rest. And you know what? If you smash that like button and subscribe, I will get a little
Subscribe,
healthier.
rest, help Joe out.
Help the world out.
Yeah, help the world out. We'll see you next time on the Splain.
Peace out.